Hey guys, this is Tyler here. It is July 22nd, and quick topic I want to discuss today is the issue of ghosting. And this is a big issue now in many countries, and more specifically here's ghosting in Estonia. As many of you may know, ghosting is essentially where you will text someone, you meet them, you text them, and then you wait for a response, and you never receive a response. And this issue actually has become more and more prevalent in many countries around the world as word has become more less trustworthy and people just don't follow through on what they say. This is a huge issue now in many countries, and especially with women. It happens obviously often with men, but I would say in this case it's actually more frequent with women, and especially when it comes to dating and the use of messenger in relationships. I don't know how this issue was 20 or 30 years ago in Estonia, but this is a big issue now, and I'm assuming it's the same in the other Baltic countries. Now, for me, it's very interesting because I used to live in Russia. This situation I almost never experienced. It was pretty forthcoming if a situation wasn't going to amount to anything. Whereas here in Estonia, girls often put on a really fake front. And in some ways, I often think even more fake than in America. I think in America, it's easier to see the sense of artificialness. But in my experience here in Estonia, it's so good, the fake facade, that it's actually hard to spot, for me at least. This is just frustrating, of course. I mean, you never like to meet someone and then correspond with them, expect to get a response, or even to go out on a date with someone and then you message them and they never respond. You would at least like the person to respond politely and just express what they're feeling. But often nowadays people don't do this, and especially with the communication has reduced so much during the past 10 to 15 years, and it's gotten at its all-time low with Generation Z. I often find that ghosting is one of the biggest issues based on both Estonian and foreign guys that I've spoken to here. This happens very frequently, and especially for foreign guys. This is a major issue. You'll get many numbers here in Estonia if you went out and got numbers, but often you wouldn't hear back from most of these people after messaging them, which is very frustrating, of course. In some cases, these girls actually have boyfriends. They may even have spouses. Like, they may not even say, look, I have a boyfriend, I have a spouse, I'm not going to change numbers. When I was in Russia, if the girl had a boyfriend or spouse, that's often what they would tell me. Here, they don't even say anything. It's very bizarre. And I think it's just something that is the reality now. You have to understand this. Is it easy to know if someone's going ghost? No, of course not. It's like I said, it's often very artificial. They put on a false front, and it's just something to expect almost. I actually think that it's almost more normal now in Estonia to experience ghosting than not to experience it. That's the day and age that we live in. That's why I encourage people, guys especially, that when they meet a new woman, do not put your feelings in her and just look at it like you look at a business interaction. You do not want to put too many feelings in this situation. Get their contact info and move on. Get other people's contact info. It has to be very business-like. This will prevent you from being demoralized, from being mentally and psychologically destroyed when you don't hear back from 1, 2, 3, 10 girls again and again and again. You'll have the mental energy just to continue on. And this is just the reality of the day and age that we live in. And also understand that ghosting can occur any part during your relationship. I'm not saying this issue could happen even once you have a girlfriend. I've spoken to guys here in Estonia, and these were guys that were in relationships, or almost two, that they had been on multiple dates. They go on a date, they then message the person, and they never hear back from the person again. So this is a major issue now, and it's just something you'll have to mentally overcome if you're interested in dating or you're trying to find a spouse. It's just the reality of Estonia today. As we can see, Estonia is progressing to become, on paper, a first world country. It's still not economically very wealthy, but it's much more developed than it was 20 years ago. And as it develops more, it also manifests itself in how the dichotomy, the chemistry between men and women, and in the change that's currently taking place. I actually predict in 10 years, the current social environment with men and women will be worse than it is in US and Canada. Maybe this isn't correct, but this is my prediction. It'll be interesting to see where they're at here. But just understand this ghosting, this is just a common issue. This happens in many countries now. And it's actually primarily caused, obviously, there's a lack of respect. I also think it's very common in real small countries. Maybe females would rather just ghost a guy and then tell them directly they're not interested in going out again. Maybe they feel less shame, they feel less embarrassed, because they know it's such a small community that perhaps people would find out they had gone out with so many guys. It's hard to say. Of course, guys do the same thing, but not nearly as often as women do. And this is just the era that we live in. Be ready for this if you date and you're trying to find a girlfriend in Estonia. It's what the environment is. Just keep your emotions in check and you'll be set. So give me your feedback below, and thank you.